Hello guys, let's start the explanation about the writing dialogue that you have to be done by the 10th of April. This is something that is in the blind side topic and following up all the parts of the topic. Now it's time to see how to do the writing. So something that I think could be useful for you guys. And remember, when you are doing the writing, to use the 10 item list I gave you. Yes, so use conditionals, questions, and so on. Okay, you've got two topics to choose for this writing, so that you've got it written in Google Classroom, so you can choose either the first one or the second one. I don't mind, so up to you guys. Choose whatever you prefer. And then some tips I would like to give you first. So before you write, think of similar situation which you have seen or heard. Think about the situation from the point of view of both characters. Yes, the purpose of the dialogue should be clear in the first few lines. Decide how the dialogue will end before you start writing. Use short sentences and short answers as well. And use the language should be natural and colloquial. And you may use short forms and contractions. Remember, we are in a kind of informal writing. This is a narrative dialogue, so it's a kind of you are narrating, you are describing something, you are setting up the characters, and then the characters are talking. So we must make sure that we use the short forms and contractions. So, and also you can use colloquial language. So okay, well, or how are things? Sounds good, sounds great. What do you think of? That depends. Go on, come on, making suggestions. How about? We could. Are you this interested in? Shall we? And so on. All right. So please make sure you use this colloquial language as well. Right. If we go to the worksheet of the blind side, and you have a look to the dialogue, the part 6, right? It says that the dialogue is a conversation between characters in a story, and it is very important to add interest to the piece and to move the plot forward. There are some rules to dialogue, however, that you want to make sure you know. Yes, so before writing, please make sure you know the rules. Yes, it will be easier for you, and then you will learn how to do it. It's easy, it's not difficult, but you have to follow these rules. The first thing is you have to keep in mind that this a dialogue, is a conversation between characters. All right. So the first rule is a direct quotation begins with a capital letter. So a quotation, it means something that is in between the quotes. You see the quotes. So a direct quotation, yes, it means when you say this person said that. This that is between quotations and it begins with capital letters. So you've got the example here. Jimmy shouted, "See you at the game." Is it true? Asked Cindy. So see you at the game because is a direct quotation begins with capital letter. Okay? Rule number 2, when a quotation is interrupted into two parts with words like he asked, the second part begins with a lowercase letter. So let's see the example, you will understand easy. So what are some of the things Mrs. Baskin inquired that make a school so much fun? One thing I like, replied Sarah, is recess. Okay, so this replied Sarah, yes, is the break that we are making in a sentence. So because we are interrupting a quotation, yes, because it's supposed to be all together. One thing like is recess, but we are saying one thing I like, replied Sarah, is recess. So this replied is with lowercase letter. Rule number 3. When writing dialogue, open quotation marks at the end of the quotation go inside quotation marks. Okay, so let's see. You see the comma in here, you see the question mark in here, are inside the quotation. Yes, so the quotes are after the comma, the quotes are after the question mark. So make sure you put this inside the quotation. Okay. Rule number 4. Do not put a period at the end of the quotation followed by things like she said, mom asked, she explained, etc. Use commas, question marks, and exclamation marks, but not periods. Periods and sentences. So, my algebra class is driving me crazy. Paul yelled. Yes, you see, the period is at the end of the sentence, but not at the end of the quotation. To finish the quotation, we've got an exclamation mark, okay, or a comma. All right. Rule number 5. Make a new paragraph when a different person begins to speak. Last night I dreamed that I ate a giant marshmallow, Kevin said. Was that anything like the dream you had about eating your way through a mountain of fruit cocktail? Asked Susie. Because Susie started speaking, yes? So we must start a new sentence because a new character speaks after Kevin. So it's going in a new paragraph, alright? And with capital letter, obviously. Okay, other reminder, sorry. Always make it clear who is speaking in a dialogue, yes? And try to avoid using the word said repeatedly. Which alternatives do we have to say said all the time? Well, we've got some, for example, whispered, below it, hollered, sniffed, halved, cooed, responded, again, explaining. We've got different dialogue tags. Yes, they are called dialogue tags. So make sure you've got a list of dialogue tags you can switch, yes, when you are reading. Good. So a very easy example, not from your level, maybe a lower level, but could be useful. This pizza is good, said Wendy with her mouth full. I have no lunch money, said Sue. You can have a bite of mine. Wendy tore off the crust and handed it to Sue, sorry. Sue backed away. Yuck. I don't want to eat crust. Here you go, said Wendy. She added a slice of pepperoni. Thanks, said Sue. It tastes better now. If you want, said Wendy, you can have half of my juice. Okay, something positive and something negative about this dialogue. The positive thing is that it's very you can understand very well, it's a lower level, so you can understand perfectly. But you see, said, yes, said. So repeating too much, said. Yes, try to use other dialogue text that would be much better. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to point in this video explanation is that you should use relative clauses, yes, to practice what we learned in this topic. So remember to get the grammar rules well learned and put in practice in the writing. Just to remind you something. So you need to learn the difference between defining and non-defining relative clauses. Your non-defining relative clauses need commas, while your defining clauses shouldn't have commas. So, I had lunch with my grandfather, who is 90 years old. The second half of the sentence tells you more about my grandfather. It's a bonus information, so there has to be a comma. I had lunch with my friend who lives in Prague. I am very cool and popular. I have lots of friends. So if I say I had lunch with my friend, you don't know which friend I mean. So the who lives in Prague clause gives you essential information. So therefore no commas. Alright? Make sure you understand the grammar from this topic. If you've got any doubts, don't hesitate. Yes, send me an email. If you want a FaceTime, we can do a FaceTime. We can exchange emails to try to make sure you know all of this. Okay? Well, I'm looking forward to read your writings. Yes, and what I said. If you've got any question, please let me know. Thank you. Hopefully, this has been helpful for you.